When you look at the news on any given day, it can feel like this chaotic jumble of totally unrelated events. But what if they aren't? Today, we're going to zero in on just a single day, February 24th, 2026, to see how the biggest stories in tech, economics, and politics are actually, well, deeply connected. Let's dig in and see what story they're really telling. So, the big question we're asking is pretty simple. What happens if we stop looking at the news as just noise and instead see it as a signal? Can we actually decode the powerful forces that are shaping our future just by connecting the dots from a single 24-hour news cycle? Let's find out. All right, so here's our roadmap. First up, we're going to dive into the AI gold rush. Then, we'll pivot to the economic squeeze that's affecting millions. We'll see how these two realities are colliding in Washington's power struggles. And finally, what this all tells us about the world we're building for tomorrow. Okay, so let's start with our first theme, the AI gold rush. And look, we're not just talking about some cool new apps on your phone. We are talking about a massive, massive wave of money and innovation that's aiming to change, well, pretty much everything about how we live and work. And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures the huge ambition behind this whole thing. A top exec at Anthropic, one of the biggest AI companies, is basically saying they aren't just building another tool. They want to build something that's so essential, so baked into our daily lives, that knowledge workers can't even imagine doing their jobs without it. Kind of like your smartphone, right? And of course, that kind of ambition, it's fueled by an absolutely staggering amount of money. I mean, look at this number, $380 billion. That's the valuation of just one AI startup, Anthropic. That's bigger than the entire economy of a lot of countries. This isn't just a tech trend, folks. This is a huge economic shift. But here's the thing. All this incredible AI needs an almost unimaginable amount of computing power. It's kicked off a full-blown hardware arms race. Take Meta, for example. They're inking a multi-billion-dollar deal with AMD for a whole new fleet of computer chips. And the energy needed to run all that, we're talking enough to power a small country. And it's all just for training AI. And this table, it does a great job of showing just how fierce the competition is. Let's just look at one tiny corner of the AI world. Tools that help programmers write code. You've got Anthropic pulling in over $2.5 billion a year, Microsoft's Copilot has 26 million users, and a startup called Cursor is already valued at nearly $30 billion. It is an absolute battleground out there. So, okay, what does this all mean for you? Well, the really crucial point is how this boom is already shaking up the job market. A new report from LinkedIn just laid out the fastest growing skills that employers are desperate for. And just look at this, right at the top. AI engineering and AI business strategy, sitting right alongside timeless skills like leadership and communication. This isn't science fiction. This is what companies are hiring for right now. All right, let's switch gears for a second. Because while we're all talking about this amazing futuristic AI boom, for millions and millions of people, that just feels like a completely different planet from their day-to-day financial reality. Today's news also paints a very different picture, one of a serious economic squeeze. And it really starts with this one, stark number 22 million. That's how many Americans just lost the financial help they were getting to afford health insurance. See, at the end of 2025, the enhanced subsidies that so many people relied on, they just went away. And you can bet the impact was immediate. It was dramatic. For the average person getting that help, the cost of their health insurance premiums, yeah, it more than doubled, practically overnight. Just imagine getting a bill like that. And, behind these giant numbers are real people, real families, like Nancy Linder from Atlanta. Her family makes around $30,000 a year. Their monthly health insurance payment tripled from $162 to $483. That's almost $4,000 more a year that they now have to find somewhere in their budget, out of nowhere. So this puts families in a really, really tough spot. They have to make some impossible choices. Some, like the Linders, just pay more by cutting back on everything else. Others are forced to downgrade to cheaper plans, but now they're facing these insane deductibles, $15,000. And then there are the estimated 5 million people who will probably just drop their coverage completely, basically rolling the dice on their health. And this squeeze, this financial pressure, it's not just about healthcare. We're seeing echoes of it all over the place. On the very same day, Spirit Airlines announced it's cutting back on flights as it fights through its second bankruptcy in just 1 year. That's a huge signal of broader strain on consumers. So think about it. On a single day, you've got these two powerful, totally competing stories, a sci-fi tech boom and a very real present-day economic squeeze. And wouldn't you know it, that brings us right to Washington, D.C., where these exact kitchen table issues are fueling a huge power struggle. This slide just lays out the conflict perfectly, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the reality for people like Kate Bavona, who says she feels squeezed in all these different directions. And on the other side, you have the official message coming out of the White House before the State of the Union, declaring that the country is strong. It's like they're talking about two completely different countries. And this economic tension, it's spilling over into this really fierce political fight about tariffs. It's been a whirlwind. After the Supreme Court knocked down his first round of tariffs, the president just immediately issued new ones using a totally different law. And what that does is set up a massive, massive showdown in Congress right before the midterm elections. And the political friction is heating up in other areas, too. Today, a media report alleged the Department of Justice held back some documents from the public Jeffrey Epstein files. That immediately sparked a new investigation from Democrats, while the DOJ pushed back, saying nothing was deleted. It's just another example of these high-stakes partisan battles that are pretty much consuming Washington right now.
Okay, so here's the bottom line. All of this, the anxiety over costs, the tariff fights, the political controversies, all of it is coming to a head tonight at the State of the Union. And wouldn't you know it, a new poll out today shows exactly what's on everybody's mind. A huge 57% of voters say the economy is the #1 issue they want to hear the president talk about.
So, after all that, where does this leave us? What's the big picture? Well, when you step back, the news from just this one day shows us these two huge competing forces that are literally shaping our future right now. This push to bring things home and this pull to reach out across the entire world. So on one hand, you've got this force of reshoring, bringing things back home. Today, Apple made a big announcement. They're moving some of their Mac Mini production to a brand new factory in Houston. And this move is a direct response to all that political pressure and the tariff battles we were just talking about. It's all about bringing investment and jobs back to the U.S. But then, and this is wild, on the exact same day, we see the other force in action, unstoppable globalization. Microsoft announced it's teaming up with SpaceX's Starlink to expand internet access around the planet, starting with community hubs in Kenya. I mean, this is all about creating one single connected world. And so, all of this leaves us with one final, really big question. We've got technology accelerating at this incredible breakneck pace. We have an economy that's transforming right under our feet. So as these two massive forces, one pulling us inward, one pushing us outward, keep playing out, are they going to pull us all together? Or are they going to end up pushing us further apart? The stories from just this one day seem to suggest that this is the defining tension of our time.